Okay.
Computer glitch.
We got it.
I think we got it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, just so everyone knows, part of the hiccup there is we now are required to live stream these meetings. So these meetings are being streamed via the internet. So, yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started here. Could I get a motion to approve the minutes from May?
I make a motion to approve the minutes for May.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Old business, second of the public hearing, number 2 for the PTO ordinance. This is ordinance 2025-4. Do I have to read all?
No, you're sure it's available for
So-
review, clerk's office,
This will be available
and it has been available for review.
for review at the clerk's office. So, yeah. You need to vote on that?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-4, reestablishing the paid time off for the employees.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Yeah, and that will start January 1, 2026. Annual insurance review, Mike.
I did bring you guys some. I'll try to make it understandable to you all, so.
That's gonna be tough.
Oh, me too.
Can I reach it?
Thank you. Thank you.
Carrie?
Thank you.
Even though Carrie's got the big one book with, so.
Yes, thank you.
All the good stuff. Well, I want to thank you guys. Again, you put your trust in the Kitchell Agency over a number of years, that's for sure. Your renewal comes up 6/4, so it's here, as it is every year. What I did, I gave you kind of a renewal looking what it was a year ago, where it's at this year. For myself in the insurance industry, 9.88 is a bargain as far as a percent increase anymore. Number of things are factoring into that. One, as you look on there, your property's up a little bit. Property rates have gone up, but also your values have gone up just because of the price per material for rebuild if something does happen. You'll see the adjustments, the liability's up a little. Same way your what is called inland marine schedule. You have a number of items like lawnmowers and those type of things that are scheduled specifically on the policy. The automobile didn't change a lot either. That's everything that from the fire department to what Lucian and Aaron would drive. The one thing that is taking a pop, and it is industry-wide, is umbrellas. Used to seem like charges were pretty reasonable, but you're starting to see umbrella rates go up because they're getting into the umbrella policies these days. You're not seeing, I mean, the small communities, I haven't had the type of lawsuits, but there are many other city municipalities that are taking on some sizable lawsuits anymore, so they're getting into the umbrella part of your policy. The other two that would be there, what's called linebacker, that is really for you, that is your D&O coverage, your E&O, your directors, officers, liability coverage in there. And then the last one is the law enforcement for if one of your deputies would get out of hand with somebody that wants to bring a suit on force or whatever it would be, you have them protected as well under this policy. So it's just showing your policy is now at 30,736, was a 9.88% increase from a year ago. I don't know if you got any quick questions from that standpoint. So that's the first sheet, and if you're looking through the sheet, the first page kind of gives you your total property, showing how much we've got for building coverage, total personal property, which would be everything you can pick up out of rooms and equipment that are inside some of the facilities, like the water treatment plant. You've got some expensive things inside there. Total property that's out in the open, the biggest part of that they consider out in the open is your water tower. That's the biggest thing, but anything out and open at the park, playground equipment, bleachers, any of those things, it's not considered building. Ball diamond fence, all that would be basketball court fence, all those things are in the property and open. And you'll see an RC by everything, that is all based on replacement cost. So if there's a loss, things are replaced new for old. There's not a depreciation on any of that. The next page is just your general summary of your liability. You have a base million for any occurrence that would take place in there. The following page is your umbrella. So you have a total of 5 million. You have the base 1 million, you have a $4 million umbrella, which is what you changed 2 years ago. We increased the umbrella up on that. Then the law enforcement, you've got $1 million, same thing. Your umbrella would go over and above the law enforcement. It'll go over and above the directors and officers, the linebacker policy. So all those would have technically 5 million of potential coverage if something would come to suit. The last page I put on there is your workers' compensation for your employees here. It went up about $400. It was a little, almost $4,300 a year ago. It's $4,621. The only thing is your work modification change. They give a mod credit. You lost a little of that just with the Aaron. He's had to have a loss recently on that. They took 5% away on that. And it's normally your workers' comp's based on a 3-year running period. So in 2 more years, that will fall off, won't be rated in. So if nothing happens, that credit will start to come back on that. So that's where you're at right now. From what I stand, and I may confer with Carrie a little bit, but I think they've left Aaron still open. His claim is still open. They haven't finished everything on that. So that was from his left shoulder incident that took place December of last year. So that's where you're at on that. Other than that, we've not had any claims on the city. The last incident that took place, the Oregon Davis School Corporation, their insurance sounds like they are on it and taking care of their bus banged into the park wall over there and caused some damage, but we didn't end up having to turn that in because they did get it reported, and the Oregon Davis School Corporation there is taking care of that. You have any questions for me? I mean, everything, a few years ago, I think we were up here because they did a big review. I mean, they came in the company, and I've mentioned then that really kudos to Lucian and Aaron. Things were top notch for everything from the water treatment plant to they didn't have, I think they had a few little things that I said, any inspector will find something to report back that might not be right, but overall it was a great aid on the town overall and how things are run and kept. So that's kudos to that and the board following through on things. Shout out, does anybody got any questions on any of that? The last thing, and it doesn't come up until August, is the volunteer fire department. Just so you know, that's their life and death type, you want to call policy. I've got with Ed Schroeder, they always have kind of a questionnaire to go through on coverage and stuff. We are actually quoting for, Ed thought it was good because he wanted to quote up to $500,000, because currently, and it's stayed the same for 10 years, it's been $150,000 on an accidental death benefit and so we're gonna find out what $500,000, just because 10 years ago, that might have been okay. Today, 150 may not go very far for a family, so that is going to be quoted out. I should be getting that back soon. That policy runs a little over $2,000. That's for it was $2,100 a year ago, and the quote, that didn't change. That stayed flat. The only thing would make it go up is depending on the quote. And if they choose to, you guys approve and say, hey, we'll go to the $500,000. But Ed wanted that to at least be quoted out, so, but that doesn't come for renewal until August, so we'll let you know there where we're at, so. And Ed was very good on the fire department I know it took a long time, putting all the scheduled equipment that goes to each fire truck, and just we want to make sure, because sometimes fire departments and towns are like farmers. They say they go buy stuff and they don't remember to tell us they went and bought some stuff, you know, so. Does that, no, farmers would never do that, would they? That's not the first thing on their mind when they go buy, or if something breaks down and they go buy, is go call the insurance guy and tell them we're getting this. So, but, no, I'm good. I again appreciate everything. You know, hopefully we've done a good job. Enjoy working with Carrie and Gina. They're always easy to get information to and from, so. And now Carrie's finally got her email straightened out, and we're good there. But, you know, if anything, I mean, right now it's set up to renew on 6/4 unless you say stop it, type of thing, so.
Don't think there's much you're gonna do about it.
No, I mean, we're more than happy with what's been done so far. I mean, the time I've been here, so. We appreciate what Kitchell Insurance Agency's done
Thank
for
you.
us.
So,
All right, I think you're good.
all right.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate your time, guys. All right, thank you. All right, see you guys.
Moving on, the Boone Township fire contract. You just need to vote on this, right? Because last time there was.
It was discussed.
Yeah. So it looks like, township agrees to pay Town of Laurel Center for this year $14,000. Is that right? Also said township will pay 1/2 of allowance given to firefighters and/or emergency medical service, first responders, EMTs, towards the purchase of updated clothing and equipment. The township amount is not to exceed $8,250 and is payable at calendar year end, December of 2026. This allowance is based on total Laurel Center Fire Department membership of 35 and by classification of members. Said township will pay $250 for each member holding fire with EMS classification, a maximum of 25 personnel. Township will pay $200 for each member holding one fire or EMS classification. This said allowance is contingent on the requirements of the Town of Laurel Center and the Laurel Center Fire Department. Are you guys all good here?
It's actually the same thing that was a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's not increased.
so we're just renewing it?
Yes.
Okay, so could we get a motion to renew the fire protection emergency medical contract for 2026?
I make a motion to review the proposal from the township
I'll second.
fire department.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Do we need to state that Ryan abstains?
Yeah. Doesn't make any difference.
Next, Pioneer Youth League improvements. So I've asked Abby to come and talk a little bit about things they've done at the park and and things that they plan on doing later in the year to give the board, visibility to it, so.
So last year we were awarded a grant for a full renovation of the girls' side and repairs to the boys' side. So once season's over, we'll start those renovations. The girls' side bleachers were repaired last year, sealed this year, not painted, sealed. The boys' side were replaced and sealed this year. Fissel came out and repaired the lights and also put plug-in receptacles at the pitcher's mounds of both the ones on the school side. The concession stand was painted to match the rest of the buildings. There was gravel put down in a place that was very much a problem of mud and water standing on rainy weekends or games.
And then, do you know what the total grant was?
35,000 and some change.
And that'll be like, so they'll redo the infield,
Yes, they will grade it down, re-level it, also fix the outfield. The outfield is quite a few feet farther than it should be. It's migrated out. Then we'll put new Hoosier mix, not limestone, on the field. And then the boys' side will have their edges fixed, leveled, not as extensive as the girls' side.
okay. All right, anyone have questions on any of that?
I guess I just say it before any of that starts, maybe she ought to contact Aaron, make sure, there's no issues. I mean, I don't know why there would be, but
Lucian, you know anything that,
Ernie?
not a lot of things?
well, I can't imagine what it would be.
Yeah.
Sometimes they know, it makes it easier.
Okay, so, and you're thinking season ends, well, the regular season ends here in a couple weeks, right? But,
Right, we'll have all-stars, so the last possible thing would maybe be practices, but second week of July, everything's done.
okay. All right, well, thanks for the work over there.
Yeah.
I know the bleachers definitely needed replaced, and the diamonds are definitely needing a little bit of TLC,
Yeah,
so.
Is the school helping us in any way with the diamond back there that they're using all the time?
no,
Should, I mean, we got a lot of volunteer people here taking care of something that the school uses.
I had went and asked Chuck last year, I think, what the plans were. Because we've heard that they're gonna put a new diamond over there, and he told me anything they would do is probably 7 to 8 years out. But that was his answer on everything I asked him, so.
We'll do,
So I'm not against, I mean,
every
Asking.
other year, they purchase, like the dirt for refill, like rain or whatever you put on top.
like a
But we
dry-
buy the chalk and the conditioner. field.
so what kind of number are they spending?
I don't know that number.
I guess I think that's kind of a little bit odd that the school's not paying hardly anything, and all the volunteer people are getting money and doing all the work and keeping it up for the school.
I don't disagree.
I mean, should we ask the school to buy something, pay for something, or set a fee?
Seemed like I would confront Nealon, he's the athletic director, to me, it would all come out of the athletic fund. Do their budget, I'm sure he could throw something in the budget to donate to the youth league for the use of the facility. How many games do they have during the season? 26? I mean, home
This
games.
season was quite a bit. It was a, like, home game year, so there was a lot,
A lot of them.
yeah.
You don't know till you ask.
I mean, I guess I hate to see all those people
Yeah.
donate all their time.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
They're not the only ones.
absolutely.
Well, I think there's a.
We have never been able to get very far in that request.
I'm sure not.
Yeah, we understand.
I suppose one of us ought to ask them, huh? See what they say.
Well, that was part of my thing talking to Chuck, but I can talk to Bingaman and see what he says.
Start somewhere.
Yeah, I think
Chuck was essentially, it is what it is deal.
well, when it's not theirs, it can be a nothing. They can go somewhere else. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm not for that, but
I think there's also.
The alternative would be, we couldn't use the 2 fields, and we, like, make them use the school field, and we take the big field.
I think that's why the youth league hasn't pushed too hard is because they're afraid.
well, I don't think the youth league needs to be the one to say. I think we need to be the ones that.
And we're covering the liability on that diamond, aren't we?
Right.
Yeah.
We are, I don't know if the school's got any
I'm sure they.
insurance, so.
Start with beginning.
What are there any other improvements you guys would want over there that we could see if they would pay for? Or I guess if they would help pay for some of the field renovation, could that grant money go to the boys diamond?
It could, or also some renovations could be done on the other 2. We weren't really gonna worry about those because we're paying for, the high school field.
And those are on school property, right?
2 of them, yeah.
Okay, I'll talk to Bingaman. He's your favorite, no, he used to be your neighbor.
He's not paid right now. He lives in
If you want it to be a collaborative effort, I'd be more than happy to go too.
Well,
I guess I
no, I 100% agree that,
I don't see this part of it's a youth league's fault problem. I foresee that being a us problem.
well, except her grant money
Yeah.
is that.
Is strictly for that, yeah.
Yeah. I know. I guess I don't care one way or the other. The school doesn't help the youth league at all. Let them use 2 diamonds.
Yeah,
And they
do all the work
And
there
we
too.
take care of those diamonds, they
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back.
Yeah.
We got 2 diamonds over there on their property, and they got 1 on our property.
Yeah.
So it's a wash. Sorry, you stop and look at it, that's what it is.
absolutely.
But from the town side of things,
Yeah,
I guess my look at it a little bit is the youth league is a broad thing. The 2 diamonds in the park are owned by the citizens of Town Rail Center.
Well, I agree, and there's times that the youth league has to use the 2 diamonds, the school's diamonds, because they can't use the park's diamond, the town's diamond, because high school's got names. I'll talk to Megan.
Okay.
Additional appropriation for Chet's building fund for this, to fix this pole barn. We need to make a appropriation to move this.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-5 for the amount of additional appropriation of $23,206 for the repair of the storage shed at the city building.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Park wall estimate. I assume that's probably Aaron.
Aaron's not here, but he did get the estimate from Jack Timmons, which I provided to you guys. And there's a stack of things there. This stems from the damage from the Orion Davis bus on May 5th over at the park. says that he'll repair heart column, grinding and chiseling out all the loose rock and cracks caused by the vehicle running into it. Will relay all loose rock, retuck point all cracks chiseled out, acid wash column and reseal it for $66.50. That's labor and material, and we just, I guess, need approval to allow him to do that work for that amount.
And that's the amount that Oregon Davis is responsible for.
Yes, and all of the estimate and photos and police report have all been submitted to their adjuster, insurance adjuster.
I'm good with it. You guys got it?
I make a motion to accept that proposal for Jack Timmons repair on the column American Drape Park for $6,650.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Dale, this one's more for you. We needed to make sure we have a request for police protection for Pioneer Days.
It'll be covered.
Leaf removal. You want to touch on that?
I had it added because we mentioned about getting a machine, and we really haven't went any further. Aaron's kind of, says he really doesn't have time to look into it. Is everyone still, I'm willing to try and look into it. I guess if Aaron doesn't have time to do it, I mean, if the board still is interested in getting something, what little I have looked into were like 20 on the cheap side and 60 on the expensive side. And does someone have a gut feeling money, or no, or forget it, or I guess before I went any further, I just see what everybody wanted to do, doesn't want to do, or what kind of money they think we ought to spend, if we do.
I'm for doing something. And I'm for, if we're gonna do it, I don't wanna buy something that 6 years from now, we're like, ah, it's junk now, and
But here's
we're
what,
the cheapest thing.
here's what we're gonna run into is, we're not gonna get anything new for this year. It's too late. Everyone into,
Did you go somewhere where you could rent something?
did I?
Yeah.
No, we had kicked around the idea of maybe buying one with another town, but then that kind of didn't go very far. We just kind of decided, one town may need it when we want it, and then who broke it, and all that kind of stuff.
So what are you thinking, Brandon, that we're gonna see about renting one for like 2 or 3 weeks?
Well, what
or
I was
something?
thinking of, yeah, for this year, since it's too late, is if we could rent one for,
Get a spot for this year.
like 2 or 3 weeks. And just tell everyone, this is your time, if you want them.
And if you can find some, if there's some place that rents one every year, that may be cheaper than owning. I don't know, but I don't know if anybody does that, I mean.
I just looked at one the other day, at just municipal, and it's $60,000 is like it.
Yeah. But I don't know as small as the town is, do we need something
Right.
gargantuous municipal? I mean, we're not taking 10 miles to dump it going across town.
See, and that's what I wonder, do we really need a municipal type of thing, that's going to be that big? We don't need a Logan Sport piece of equipment. And so that's what I'm kind of wondering, if there's something smaller that would be livable.
I did find something that I don't know what it cost, but it was like went on a dump trailer. It was like a top that went on a dump trailer, you buy a little dump trailer, you put a top on it, and then you put a sucker blower thing on it. It looked fairly inexpensive, but when I say inexpensive, I'm talking like $25,000 or something, I'm not talking, but I'm just curious what everyone,
Well, I'd say if you're willing to look into it.
I'll try and
see
look
what's
into
out
it.
there.
I'll try and look into it.
But, you take into consideration the rental part,
Oh, yeah.
for us
Sure.
to appropriate $25,000
Yeah.
for a piece of equipment that we're gonna use 2 or 3 months out of the year, and the rest of the time it just sits in a building, which is more economical. To rent one for 3 months, I mean, that would be my preference.
I'll try to get in contact with some people and let everybody know in the group text kind of where we're at, and everybody can at least have an idea when we talk about
I
it
would
again.
think that Tim's point, there's gotta be people that are like us, they don't wanna own it and have to sit there forever.
I know. I'll see what I can find out.
Okay, reports, Lucian?
The one thing I got is CCR's will be going out this month sometime, or like the end of the month, so.
How I read consumer confidence report.
Yeah.
Okay. Dale?
No.
You weren't, he hesitated.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No.
Now, no.
Teresa?
No, I know.
I just got one thing. Carrie, I think maybe Carrie and I communicated a month or so, a couple weeks ago about this community crossing grants. The whole issue is whether or not we can continue to apply for community crossing grant monies to do road maintenance and things like that. And there was a recent House bill that was passed that is suggesting to municipalities that you now have to levy a motor vehicle tax or a wheel tax, both, in order to be eligible for these community crossing grants. And that's what I've discovered so far, is that that's partly true. But if we don't do anything, from what I've learned, we're gonna be eligible for the regular community crossing grant money no matter what. So that's the first thing. There's a supplemental pool of money that every year gets generated, or some years gets generated, that is kind of what everybody's fighting for, and they have to pass these wheel taxes if they want to be eligible for that money, like bonus money. But today, actually, this morning, I was reading, these House bills are quite extensive, but I was reading some information, and I believe that it may not apply at all to municipalities with less than 5,000 residents, which means that we're exempt from doing anything. We don't have to worry about it. I'm trying to figure that out. That's something that kind of came to my attention this morning, above and beyond what I had learned previously. So we're trending in the direction of not having to do anything. And the deadlines that we thought might exist are not really that significant of deadlines anyway. You know, we were talking about the end of June, and then there was a discussion about the end of September, and I'm not gonna get into all the nuances, but they're nothing that we need to be all stressed about.
So if we did do that, would every dollar come back to the town?
No, there's like a sliding scale.
That's what I figured.
It's extremely complicated.
So out of so if somebody has to pay $5 for a wheel tax on their car, we ain't getting $5.
My impression is no. It's a prorated division of it, and
Yeah, probably.
And you also have this issue of the county having a tax and layering a local tax on the town or
Like, I
municipality.
did notice on my registration, there is a line item for municipal wheel tax.
Yeah, no, the county has one. So
Well, there's a county that I pay, and then there's another item that says 0 that says municipal.
so they're just itches.
It's there.
Let me have.
It's there, yeah.
Yeah, they're ready. They got it all set up for you. The template has been.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's kind of the Cliff Notes version.
I love it.
Or the editor's review, I think is what they call it in the House bill. But that's the short summary of what we got there.
Okay.
So stay tuned for more exciting news on the wheel tax and the community crossing grant.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I had a call the other day, the gentleman that bought Trailer Chemical.
Yes.
He has 2 meters in that building. 1 meter he uses, the other meter he does not run water through, but he pays for that meter every month. There's other places in this town that the water's been shut off, that they are being billed for. Some don't pay. Anyways, they just let the bill pile up. But he was just asking if there was any way that he could get out from paying the $31.50 a month for the meter that's in his building that he does not even use.
It was there when they have Trinity Chemical. Well, it was probably there when the tomato plant,
That's what I'm saying,
you know?
yeah.
If it's non-functional, I mean,
I
he
asked,
doesn't use it,
I asked Carrie about the ordinance and she was gonna, did you bring a copy?
I have them on my desk, I didn't bring them in.
Oh.
We did talk further, Aaron and I talked further, and Brandon and I talked further about that. I had some other information, but.
Yeah, so I talked to Aaron about it earlier, and because of the new lead rule or whatever, once you remove a meter, it cannot go back in.
Yeah.
It has to be
You
a
can
new
take,
meter.
you can take it out and work on it right there,
Yeah.
then you can put it back in, but if you take it away, it's new meter.
So, I mean, to me, if we would do something like that, it would have to be a significant reconnect fee if you wanted the meter put back in, because I mean, we're talking, Aaron and I was talking, it'd be close to $600 to put a meter and a reading unit back in, and I
So
don't know.
then
He
what-
contacted me and I just said I would ask.
What are we gonna do then with, we have some people that have bought other properties where there's no houses on them, but there's still meters, and they're being charged.
Unless you said something like, if you have more than one lot, or more than one meter per building, or something like that, you know, I don't know.
I think the whole, my understanding was those that are left there, it's because that property could be sold and a house built, so that meter's gonna be needed at some point.
Mhm.
Maybe not now, but maybe later. And then like the trailer chemical, what Aaron was explaining to me on that one in particular, they have one outside that they are using that he's paying for, and this other one is inside, and it is at the other end of the building, and it runs the bathrooms in that building. And so while he may not be using it currently with all the remodeling and stuff he's doing, if he does remodel those restrooms, he's going to need that meter. So if we took it out,
Well, he was telling me that he has no intention of ever using it.
but maybe he doesn't know what it's for.
So we're only billing him out for 2 meters, but he has 3. I think there's just 2 there. There's one on his south lot, where that little building is. Yeah, where the old scale used to be.
Yeah,
There's a meter
about
there.
that. Forgot about that one.
you know, with the
Well,
scale.
obviously, you know, you need to be real careful about making any, you know, these tweaks, because if you cause kind of a domino effect,
Well,
then you're getting into the rate studies and how that impacts our ability to repay bonds and all that stuff.
I told him that, and I told
Because
him.
we've had these complaints come up
Yeah.
from time to time. I know there's people floating around, and there's probably 2 dozen or 3 dozen people in town at least that have these issues.
Oh, yeah.
But you gotta be real careful about doing something, because the word will get out, and,
I told him it basically was gonna have to do with whatever the ordinance said,
you know.
and is all I told him. Because I told him that same thing, you know, about the bonds.
I don't think we can do anything,
That's fine.
not without affecting a lot of others.
Yes.
I mean, there could be a time to address that. It's just at the end of your, you know, your cycle with your bond repayment and all this stuff, when you're not, you know, worried about generating revenues. You know, then that's when you should take a look at those things, in my opinion.
Don't we have some people that are getting billed that don't even pay the bill?
But they could be, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we've kind of been
maybe
through
not,
that,
but I'm dropped the ball right now on that part, but.
You're trying to get the money.
Well, I mean, I discovered a process that maybe makes this a little easier at the end of each year, where we can just file these things in bulk.
Oh,
And we talked about it, that was probably last fall now, I've forgotten, but, you know, we're fine, figure it out.
That's all I got.
Well, you know, I'm on the Emergency Management Advisory Board. I have a young man on the fire department that's willing to shadow me for the next couple of meetings. One is in August and then one towards the end of the year. Levi Mann, he's a new recruit with the volunteer fire department. And it looks like, if he's interested, he will take that over the first of the year,
Okay.
okay? And I think he just got his hazmat certification, I'm not certain a second, so he's very enthused.
It is good.
He's very enthused.
Thanks for doing that too,
Well, that's
Jeff.
good.
You know that.
That's all I got.
Gina?
Well, since school is out, the increase of kids taking golf carts and pulling out in front of you has increased tremendously. We also have kids on scooters that they're like, I don't know what they are, they
Go fast.
pull right out in front of you and drive right down the middle of the road and flip you off if you try to get them to move. So, and there's a lot of golf carts that still do not have stickers, and I think it's time to make examples. Because it's a problem. Someone's gonna get hurt and the town is gonna be liable. I went home today at 4 o'clock and 2 carts pulled out of the Dollar General right in front of me, no stickers, just boom, I don't know. So,
Adults too, though, Gina, do the same thing, the kids holding on the back, and they're about flying out, the kids at the back.
it's just
Can't let
worse
it
than
say
school is out.
Ignorance.
Yeah. It's just worse than.
Can I
kids'
ask
house.
what makes that the town's responsibility versus the person that owns the golf cart?
It doesn't.
It does.
It does.
It's gonna fall on whoever's driving.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's,
I kind of generally agree with that. I mean, I think if the town is promoting a problem, and they're facilitating a problem, or a circumstance that's problematic, and there's some, by way of road markings or traffic control, we're doing something negligently or even beyond that recklessly, then we might be in a different situation, but just the general use of those golf carts and how people operate those, just like vehicles, really. You know what I mean? They're just another form of vehicle.
that's what I was
I have a
saying.
question for Dale. My understanding was from a fellow deputy that the state code overrides a county or local ordinance as far as age drivers.
That's why ours matches 16.
It's at 16.
Yeah.
If they're 15,
With a permit, just like a legal driver,
right,
but they gotta be permitted with a person of
below
legal.
15, they can be ticketed.
Right, anybody that's not a permitted driver
Okay,
can be ticketed.
okay.
We can regulate above and beyond the state statute, the
Okay.
boundaries, as long as we're regulating in the opposite
He
direction.
didn't get,
So we could say you have to be 18, but we can't go, we can't squeeze that number below 16 if the state statute says you only have to be 16.
Okay.
We can't make it 14.
he didn't go into specifics, he just made that point to my wife.
Yeah.
You know, So,
What's the,
Yeah, that's why ours mirrors
Six,
the
9-year-olds
16.
driving.
Okay.
what's the deal on scooters? Is there an age on those scooters?
If they're on the roadway, they have to follow the basic same rules of the roadway, it's like a bicycle. So if you're riding a bicycle, you're supposed to stop at the stop signs, things like that.
So you can those be driven on 35 and 16?
Yeah, it's an electric
Serious.
motor conveyance.
You can
Not
ride,
following road rules.
well, you can ride,
Nothing that
you can ride a
restricts,
bicycle.
Well, yeah,
Nothing
I'm
restricts
good
the
with
highway.
it. I'm good with adults.
but like like interstates, they'll tell you no walking, pedestrian traffic, things like that. So, but on a local road, yeah, there's not gonna be anything to prevent it from a highway.
Unless you're obstructing flow of traffic.
Right, I mean, and then you gotta,
I think it's just like a bike.
yeah.
I really do
Yeah.
think that's what you're dealing with.
and they go through.
So they're not stopping
Yeah,
at stop signs and they're right down the middle of the road, and they're not following the
Yeah.
rules.
In the speed limits, matching
I'm trying to think how many stops.
235.
Right, it's right down there.
10,000 miles a year, not one.
Foot down there.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I mean, if kids running the stop signs on the scooters, we tell them, they can't,
Yeah, I know.
But
they gotta stop at stop signs,
it's
but
not exceeding the speed limit.
The speed limit in the park is 10 miles an hour.
Oh, in the park, okay.
And what's the speed limit outside the park, Dale? Is it 35 or?
35.
35.
Yeah, see, they're not gonna go 35 mile an hour.
Well, I don't know how
Some of
much.
them are getting really, really close to that.
Yeah, because I saw drag racing the other day, and the golf
Yeah.
cart got beat by the scooter,
But-
just saying.
Yeah, well, you're looking at, are they doing 38 mile an hour? We're gonna
Mhm.
take a kid for doing 38 mile an hour? Or, because now we're gonna start taking out cars for doing 38. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, the worst thing about all of it is, until a tragic accident happens,
Yes.
everybody's gonna do what they keep doing,
Yes.
period.
And they're not wearing helmets.
Yeah,
No, so.
they're putting their life on the line, and we can't do anything about it, you know?
Yeah, we can't be the
Parenting.
parents.
That's
Yeah, we
right.
can't.
Yeah.
Where's the parenting?
At some point, you
Oh,
pass an
there you go,
ordinance,
Dale. Thank you.
responsibility falls on
That's
the
right.
individual at some point, you know?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I mean, your biggest concern should be liability, I understand, you know, general safety, but parenting other people's kids and making decisions for them,
And I've been asked
not really your purview, you know.
about who's responsible. And my response was, we're not liable, and that is correct, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, sort of.
I mean, again, unless you're putting Aaron or Lucian out there and they're regulating traffic or something, and they're doing that in some reckless manner,
No.
you know, maybe, or one of your town marshals or something.
Oh, see that?
But I'm like Tim, I don't want to see some young kid get killed in the meanwhile.
Yeah,
His
no,
play. I don't want to see somebody get killed because
That's right.
yeah.
I'm one of those people that follow the kid home and go in there and tell their parents. Do you know this kid just ran out in front of me and I darn near hit him? Then the parent don't seem to care. That's why the kid just ran out in front of me.
Carrie?
I only have one thing, I got
I've done that.
an estimate for Anthem Dental renewal. And it went up 3%. It's raising from $58.77 a month to $60.53. So that was not too bad an increase.
So a fairly decent policy.
I really haven't had an opportunity to use it too much yet. It worked well for cleaning.
Well,
So
I was gonna say, at least, I mean, by the look of the dollar amount, it doesn't pay much more than maybe for one cleaning a year. $60.
Oh, yeah,
I assume that's per person, right?
that is our monthly premium, the $60 is.
All
So
for everybody.
for each person.
Oh, yeah, each person, yeah, I believe that.
But it went up 3%, which was
That's
pretty
what I
minimal,
I
yeah.
think that's about what the schools is. Fine.
Did you tell me about the forms you want?
I did not, in your forms that I gave you to, you should have nepotism forms, and those have to be done each year, so if you could fill those out and leave them with me, then we can accept the next meeting.
We have two of them?
Yes,
Okay.
there is,
2 pages, 2.
contracting with a unit nepotism, and then there's hiring and supervision nepotism. Thank you.
Does anybody have anything else?
Nope.
Citizens?
I'm just curious, has anything been decided, like about the floor of the pavilion? Because why does it have to be fancy? It's park pavilion.
You're talking about inside?
Yeah,
So we
what's
voted,
wrong with cement?
so we voted last month that we do the doors, put the new doors in, which was like 12,000 and some bucks. And then we were looking at some other possible, basically the floor's gonna have to be chiseled off and the concrete's gonna have to be polished at minimum.
Chiseled off?
Yeah, because it's glued down.
Yeah,
So it'll have to be chiseled off, and that's gonna leave, then they'll have to go in there and polish that glue off and polish the concrete to a minimum.
it can't just be sanded down and stuff?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
That's
it's a chisel.
Well, they're gonna chisel the tiling off, then they'll have to go in and sand that floor. And that's where the most of the expense is being incurred in whatever we do. I mean, it's been discussed to just sand it and then just paint it back, but we're also looking at a fairly substantial amount of money just to get it prepped to the place where it can just be nothing more than paint.
But wouldn't that have to be done even if you put down different flooring, besides the expense of the flooring?
I would say so.
Okay.
I think that was included in the labor.
Yeah, that was included in the cost, but, I mean, it was discussed to paint it,
Yeah,
but then it was, you know, we don't know what the floor's gonna look like once we get there either.
okay.
Once we get there, we may be committed to the epoxy just to fill in the cracks and the gullies and it's been kicked around about other ways and nobody's been able to come up with a inexpensive way.
And we can't do anything till we see the floor.
Yes.
I mean, you
So
know,
we
it's
can't
stuck.
we can't decide till we're committed.
Yeah,
Is that Grand Industrial?
That it was, but
Okay.
we didn't, after we decided to get the doors in and all that, there wasn't gonna be enough time
Okay.
to do any more, so we were just kind of trying to wait and kick around an idea. If somebody had a better idea or cheaper, but nobody's come up with anything other than what Grand Industrial's come up with. But
I think we're all committed to getting that, you know, something done in there and making it nicer like Gina proposed. We're just trying to figure the best way now. And we don't wanna do it now because people are starting to rent.
So is the flooring coming up or something, or what's wrong?
So, well, it is starting to come up in spots, but we also have to run the heater over there all year round for that, because of that flooring.
Yeah,
So,
And there's no insulation in the building.
it's a cement block building.
Yeah. Well, there's none in the roof either.
No?
No.
so the goal is to come up with a flooring solution where you don't have to run the heater all year, or all year.
Yeah, in the winter.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right, need a motion to approve the claims?
I make a motion to approve the claims.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Yeah, what is this last one here that I don't want to take home?
You do need to sign